Greetings, BArcadians, and welcome to the virtual towers of Binary Arcadia. Following the release of the DS2 trailer, if you're a fan of the channel, and you'll only be seeing this if you are, you know that we've got a special history with Death Stranding, Hideo Kojima. So, using our Doom's abilities, we thought we'd repatriate the channel, at least for a brief window of time, just to get our thoughts, feelings, theories out there on the new DS2 trailer, because we just couldn't resist, and it's fun. So yeah, we are going to try and segment this trailer, this video, for your consumption. So we've kind of got three main sort of topics that we're going to discuss. It's going to be a bit freeform, sofa, couch, me and Rich, just getting stuck into it. The first area of discussion though, mate, is going to be all about popular theories and trailer details. So we've just had a bit of a deep dive on YouTube, and we have been over the past month or so.
Absolutely.
I've made some notes here. Is there anything you want to bring to the table initially?
Yeah, I think just as a bit of background, it came as a bit of left field, I thought this. With everything we've been hearing about Hideo Kojima, it seemed like he was working on other projects, not necessarily anything to do with Death Stranding. So for him to suddenly drop a trailer out of the blue and basically announce that he's making a second Death Stranding, I thought that was almost like a bit just blindsided me. I wasn't expecting it at all. So especially as it appears, we're now in 2023, trailer dropped late 2022, that it will be out this year as well, which is the other thing. Very short window from announcement to what potentially will be a release.
It looks far along, and I'm sure there's been some sort of a leak recently about a potential release window. But yeah, I mean, all the things when we were covering the news on BA, it always almost was suggested that Sony weren't necessarily happy with the commercial success of Death Stranding, and seemingly Kojima was courting other companies. Stadia rejected a game, I think. Microsoft, we knew, had meetings with him.
Well, we know there's a collaboration. He's doing something with them. We don't know what that is at the moment.
So like you say, it all pointed to, and we were even saying, weren't we, Sony have dropped a ball here, because it's Kojima. You sign him on
100%.
if you can. So
that leads us into this trailer that dropped, which was fascinating, wasn't it?
Yeah, at the old Keighley Awards.
Yeah, and I think it happened like late in the evening in the UK, and I'd not seen it, and I woke up the next morning and was like, Tabz, have you seen this trailer? Have you seen this trailer, mate?
Yeah, you were first on.
I was like, what is happening? Yeah, but yeah, very, very cool. But anyway, let's get into the popular theories and trailer details.
It's going to be a bit scattershot, Arcadians, so bear with us, just because we're going to talk through it in more of a conversation format. So the first thing I've written down, mate, Doom's Tears repatriation. So we open the trailer, don't we, with this initial scene we think points towards both Fragile raising baby BB Lou from the first game, who's now, we understand, about 2 years old.
Yeah, so there seems to be some, I don't know, the thing on the wall's a height chart. Someone suggested that. So you could be construed in thinking that it suggests that she's 2, maybe. But there's some...
Louise is on a bib, so that confirms really that she's called Louise.
Yeah.
It's too coincidental to be any other baby. But let's assume we're going to have to make a number of assumptions with the trailer.
So it almost certainly suggests that this that we're seeing at the start of the trailer is after the first game.
And as we've seen in another person's content, there's a drawbridge print on the vehicle that she takes out later in the trailer, which again fits into this chronology of, we think drawbridge is a new thing in DS2.
Yeah, it's created after sort of
DS1.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah. So it's all pointing towards continuity there.
Now, the only thing that contradicts that in this opening sections of the trailer is the fact that Fragile, we know that only her face is undamaged by
Timefall.
Yeah, basically. We know her body is aged. And in this trailer, she's seen in, I don't know, sort of a crop toppy type thing, a vest type top, and she doesn't look to have that. So where that fits in, how that works, we're not too sure on that.
But it's almost like, I think, a red herring, you know, to say there will
Potentially.
be an explanation, but I think it's almost Kojima just, you know, it's throwing us off because it's making us question a chronology.
Yeah.
When I think there's enough clues to kind of go with for now.
Yeah.
The fact that this is continuity from the first game. And then, so we've got this person in red, we think, or a militia in red, pursuing Lou and Fragile. Fragile's on the run with Lou. They're in a prepper base. They go out. Then she's on this little, like, unicycle sort of bike, gets clipped by a bullet, rolls over, shot. We cut to these, as I say here, Doom's Tears repatriation. We see both Fragile crying these black tar-like tears. Then we cut to a shot of a baby, as often he liked to, like, almost in the womb or down a throat. And the baby's crying Doom's Tears. It almost suggests that both Lou and Fragile are repatriates to me, so they can come back from the dead.
Yeah.
And then there's a hint, we hear a gunshot, cut, and then we see a baby BT reappearing, coming through in the same kind of BB pod that was being used as like a cryptobiote
aquarium, I guess.
Aquarium,
in essence,
That's that in the kerfuffle was smashed on the floor.
Yeah.
So then it leads you to think, okay, baby Lou was killed in that ruckus.
In that sequence,
Yeah, and has then come back as a BT in that, for whatever reason, she's somehow attached to that pod, because that was her pod originally. And the link is the wings.
Yes, so comes back in that pod with wings, like almost like angel wings. So do we think that then she's transcended the beaches now? She's able to be on a higher plane than the beaches?
I don't know.
It's...
But at the very least, because at the start when she's alive and in Fragile's arms, we see that her outfit has wings on.
Yeah, true.
Whether that's just a cute outfit or, you know, possibly, as you say, she's grown wings. You never know with Kojima. But it does create that link between, we can only assume that BT is Luke. Based on that link. So question marks there. We'll come back to that in our kind of second topic that we want to discuss. But should we move on?
Well, before we move on, so we also see, you might be coming on to this, we see these red people, don't we?
Yes.
And they're marching towards this strange, I don't know, monoliths?
Yeah,
like two
a
monoliths. Yeah, and they almost look like they're bridging together towards each other.
But not quite, are they?
Which is weird.
We've got this prism effect above them. We know, again, from some content, thankfully, on another channel, that we seem to think this procession is what is then carrying this coffin that obviously depicts this statue of Amelie at the top of it. They come across like, a cult almost. We've got friends joining us on the video. They come across as this almost cult of people, and again this red colouring which links to the red militia at the start hunting Lou and Fragile.
Now there's a walking sort of robot here during this sort of procession. There's some suggestion that people think that Amelie's body is in there. Now, I don't know, I'm not so sure on that, but it would be interesting if that was Amelie's body. Right at the end of this trailer, and we'll obviously probably have to double back to this, we do see what we think is Higgs in Amelie's body. And I wonder whether this is what we're seeing here is they find Amelie's body and they're taking it to Higgs, who is like the chief of this sort of these red guy militia people, to sort of make that happen.
Yeah, and just for a bit of context on that, we know Kojima has history with this sort of, I don't know, what would you say, conceit, a merging of characters.
Yeah.
So MGS2, of course we saw Liquid Snake being merged with Revolver Ocelot via this arm that was grafted on him and seemingly possessed him. A bit like that House of Horror Simpsons episode.
Absolutely, yeah.
With Snake's hair. And so essentially there's a precedent for that. And we also know that Amelie from the first game was by choice stranding herself on the beach to prevent the extinction event. And Higgs, we think we know now that Amelie didn't kill him. Sorry, Fragile didn't kill Higgs.
Yeah.
She left him with the gun, with the choice basically, be forever stranded on the beach alone or kill yourself.
Yeah.
And put himself out of his misery.
Yeah, yeah.
So it seems to suggest, doesn't it, that therefore Higgs has found a way via this cult to, is he using Amelie's body?
I think so, yeah.
As a way to get back to the real world?
A sort of hybrid cyborg of Amelie's body. Because when we see him right at the end of the trailer, it's not just Amelie's body, is it? It's like a hybrid of machine and human.
Yeah, we hear Higgs, we see Amelie's necklace, Amelie's hair,
and
the
face.
body is like this. It's almost like a BB pod of intestines.
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah. It almost looks like real intestines inside a cage body almost. And then very right at the end, there's a shot where the mask is about to come off and you can see a human face, but you can't see whether it's a man or woman or whatever.
So I think it's almost like he's projecting his own, I forget if it's a har or a car, his soul from his beach.
Yeah.
Somehow in convergence with Amelie, and he's projecting himself back into the world of the living with this kind of proxy body.
Yeah, 100%.
But anyway, let's get back to the chronology of the trailer. We know there's this theme of disconnection.
Yeah, so it says, I think it says right at the end, it says, should we have connected?
Should we have connected? We've got this drawbridge logo. So this kind of evolution of bridges, maybe, the company. And again, the logo itself hints at this drawbridge.
It's interesting, isn't it? So the bridges are connected. They're connected all of the time. That's how they work. Whereas a drawbridge, you can choose to connect or choose not to connect in terms of if the drawbridge is up, you can't proceed or whatever. I wonder whether that is a suggestion that obviously our mission in Death Stranding was to connect
all the beaches.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
But is this sort of suggestion about this game is, should we have decided how we connected? It's not necessarily everybody should have been connected. It should have been a...
Well, that was the thing, wasn't it? Because we thought we were connecting everybody again. And in fact, what was happening, it was Amelie's plan to connect all of the beaches via the chiral network so she could bring about the end of the world, which she decided not to do. So yeah, you're right. It's almost there's a suggestion there. Can we now decide to disconnect beaches?
Yeah, I think that's what we're looking at here. I think so.
Sam's hair, we've made a note here. So is that a hint towards aging? Which I think you'd have to assume.
Yeah.
That's 10 years of aging at least.
Yeah, so when we see Sam here, he's basically grey hair, grey beard, and looks older, doesn't he? Looks at least 10 years older.
A bit older, yeah. I mean, there's not a lot of like wrinkling
No.
or, but he might just be trying to flatter Norman Reedus,
Yeah.
He's a man who will age well into a silver fox. But you'd say at least 10 years aging. What contrasts with that or contradicts it is, as we say, we're pretty sure that first clip with Lou and Fragile suggests only that Lou's 2 years old.
But equally, Fragile has not aged. So we see Fragile in the same clip of Sam, and Fragile looks exactly as she did in the first game, in Death Stranding 1.
So again, I think for us to keep things as straightforward as we can, kind of ignore these things as almost red herrings that will get explained that we just can't quite get our head around.
Do we know whether Kojima's done that before? He's very good at like mixing chronology about, so you're perhaps seeing things out of order. But has he done stuff in trailers where he's gone, that person will wear something different for the trailer, but in the real game, you know what I mean? He's slightly changing stuff. So like there, we see Sam with grey hair, and we see Fragile at the start, unaged. Are they red herrings to make you like...
To throw you off?
Yeah.
Well, you pointed out MGS2 Raiden as a playable character, totally subverting audience expectations who wanted to play as Snake. He got a lot of flack for it.
100%, yeah.
So he loves to play with you like that. So I do think that these things are meant to... truth be told, we don't know if any of this makes sense. You might have just picked and edited this together
100%.
as a monstrosity. But let's come back to the notes. So we've got this. We get this introduction from Fragile to Sam of this. What would you call it? It's a ship, isn't it, of some kind? It reminded me a bit of the old Nebuchadnezzar from The Matrix.
Yeah, it does actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So Fragile's introducing this, and to Sam, this is my crew. So we presume time has moved on since that first bit when seemingly Fragile and Lou were being hunted. We've got some clues that we've picked up on the actual ship itself. So OHV Magellan. We know that there's this historic figure, Magellan, who seemed to be, I think from memory, he kind of founded this trade route, like Atlantic Pacific trade route. So it starts to hint towards, and we also think that a working title for DS2 is Ocean.
Yes.
So there's these suggestions that this is going to be a key part of the game. We're going to have this we're going to be ocean faring, at least across this Death Stranding tar-like ocean. And we'll perhaps come back to this, but we think there's a connection there between these, creating connections or disconnections between people's beaches.
Yeah.
But I think we'll come back to that on our next topic about our own theories. APAC, which we think stands for Automated Public Assistance Company, is actually a logo emblazoned on this ship.
Yeah, it is.
Which we think this could be a big superpower, because again, it says in the trailer, doesn't it? Something about it not being bridges, it was actually APAC.
Yeah, right at the end, Higgs basically says it was them all along.
So we feel like, although the first game we thought Bridges was the kind of the
good guys, in essence.
And then the questions were asked in the first game, were they good or not? But then it's almost suggesting in the second game that APAC, what was this company pulling the strings all along? We know from, I think there's a Wikipedia entry about them being this private company, having some similarities to, in real life, the United East India Company, which we know had historic connections to slave trade. So it doesn't sound great in terms of APAC, but then that's confusing because Fragile seems to be employed or part of
in
them.
cahoots with them or whatever,
Which we think Fragile's a good guy, so confusing. Let's move on from there. And then that brings us around, doesn't it, to this Higgs Amelie and what we've said about this projection.
Yeah, and then these sort of robot-like figures that are behind him seemingly doing his bidding, which, again, don't look like the same figures that we see earlier on in the trailer, walking towards these monolith structures. So, yeah, bit of a strange one. No surprise, given it's Hideo Kojima.
No, he loves it. Oh, yeah, and of course the Guitar Hero moment.
Like why has he got a guitar? It doesn't make any sense.
I mean, some of it you can kind of take seriously, and then he does that, and you're like, ah.
But that's a prime example where surely he hasn't got a guitar.
No.
Surely that's...
How can you just fathom that into...
Yeah,
I mean, that's the indulgence of Kojima.
Yeah, agreed.
But it'll be cool. There'll be some cool explanation behind it. But mate, let's take the opportunity there then, just to flesh out. And this is a bit more my theory, I don't want to misrepresent you. But because we know some bits of what Kojima's said behind the scenes, that he kind of rewrote this following COVID-19. We don't know what that means. We don't know if he wanted to divert from that, if he wanted to reflect themes, some of the things that resonated from COVID-19. Whether he wanted again to try and be this Nosferatu character as he likes to and predict the future. But what I think is, from some of the themes we've seen, COVID-19, obviously we're all isolated. I'm wondering if there's something here that suggests preppers, people, are somehow isolating to their beaches, whether by choice or not. And therefore part of this, because Kojima has also said he will be introducing an element of nostalgia in this game. Although it's a sequel, it won't be traditional, but there will be a nostalgic element. And that suggests to me he's aware that people have got attached to the gameplay of the original. Mm-hmm. We're going to need something that feels similar. And it makes sense. They've got this new craft, this new ship that we think can traverse chiral matter.
Yeah.
Can it traverse beaches? Is there going to be this element of we can choose to either, I don't know, deliver to people's beaches, rescue them from, link them up? So
I wonder on this one. So we know in that first, in Death Stranding, one of the themes was that people would get obsessed with delivering. They would get
The meals.
Yeah, they would get obsessed with delivering. Now, have people become obsessed with isolation because that's what everyone was doing to stay away from all the BT stuff and all that? Have they become so obsessed with isolation that they're taking it a step further and isolating on their beaches, as you've just said? But obviously that means they don't need to connect with anyone at all.
Yeah.
Because when you're on your beach, it seemingly you don't need anything.
Yeah.
And
it's almost like an evolution because of the stranding phenomenon. It's almost like they've introspected so much.
Yeah, exactly.
They've gone back to their beaches.
Yeah, and I wonder whether that's where we see this craft, and it's going to have to move around, basically almost connect people back to the real world from their beaches, maybe. And that's how that gameplay loop's going to be similar to Death Stranding of the original.
Yeah, and that obviously suggests as well, we've got these trade routes from the Magellan references. Is there going to be some element of, completely different biomes we're traveling between? Is it all going to be, because the beaches are quite stark, abstract places, aren't they?
Massively.
Is there going to be variety there? Because if it is just beaches, it could be a very dull experience.
True. Although it seems like different people's beaches are different.
I was going to say,
albeit not vastly different.
And will that be an extension of the mythology that because people have been able to then develop this connection between their own beaches, can they almost create this imaginary world?
Maybe, yeah.
Because it's kind of not physical, is
it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And therefore there will be a lot of expression for the design of the game, which will be amazing, to be honest. So yeah, that's where our minds are. Is there anything else before we move on to kind of topic 2, mate, which is our theory of the 3 acts? Is there anything else you wanted to touch
I think we've covered everything that we've sort of surmised so far.
Well, let's move on. So yeah, topic number 2, it was more some of the things we've been thinking about, and we've tried to almost apportion the game to 3 acts that we feel could represent the passage of gameplay, of story, at least based on what we have so far. And we have to admit, one of the final act we think is just utter mystery, because we just don't have a lot to go on at all, do we? A couple of clues.
So what we have to go on basically is the fact that there are new actors involved in the project and we don't know what they're doing. So the summarization.
2 female kind of protagonists, Elle Fanning and I forget Shioli,
something like that. But
apologies, Shioli. I'm sure you're amazing.
Tell us about Act 1 then, mate. Well, tell us about the 3 acts, and then I'll fill in where I can.
So yeah, Act 1, at least based on the chronology of this trailer. So
take that with
pinch of salt territory. Yeah. So Act 1, we think Lou has obviously been entrusted to Fragile.
Yeah.
Willingly by Sam, we don't know. They're on the run.
You would think almost certainly willingly.
Yeah, you would hope so.
Yeah.
There's a reason for that.
And because anyone who's played the first Death Stranding and completed it will know
they're allies.
Sam's attachment to Lou as well. He wouldn't just
Yeah.
If she'd been taken, he would be getting her back, yes.
Yeah, definitely. So Act 1, for whatever reason, Fragile is trying to protect Lou in this prepper base and is being hunted by this cult group. So whether that's Higgs as the mastermind trying to capture, maybe Lou has some sort of special ability that they are trying to harness that's going to bring about whatever their devious plans are. Anyway, we think that's Act 1 and could revolve around playing as Fragile as you...
That wouldn't surprise me. That would be I think that would make a lot of sense.
And you could almost imagine the sort of stealth dynamic, a bit MGS style, as you're trying to avoid this, constant pursuit.
Yeah, because we've never seen Fragile with a weapon.
No.
So if we are to play as Fragile, it would be complete stealth, wouldn't it?
It would. But then what throws things into the mix is we've seen this hint towards them both being able to repatriate. That almost gives you that kind of gamified element where they could die and you could be reborn and just carry on.
Yeah.
Which works because that's the whole conceit behind Sam as a playable character in the first game.
Yeah.
I did share with Rich, and we'll come to this in the final topic, is what we'd like to see.
Yeah.
But I'd love it if this act was almost a bit like a roguelike, where you're in this kind of time loop almost, where you're constantly trying to get out of this pursuit, this situation, and you're almost having to learn with each repatriation, what works, what doesn't. Maybe you discover things with each playthrough that becomes vital to your next playthrough. And I just think that would be such a cool thing to have, like a roguelike experience that doesn't characterize the whole game, but just for this first act.
Yeah, so you're a bit like, what was the top-down game?
Hades.
No, that I played, was it 12
minutes?
Yeah, a bit like that.
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah.
So you're learning stuff, and each time you're learning what you can do, and then if you do something wrong, you're going to die, it starts again, or whatever.
You try something different,
Yeah,
you go
yeah.
a different direction.
Yeah.
Or you realise, if I do this, that does that, that helps me avoid this scenario. So yeah, I'd love that, and I could see Kojima
I think that's
experiment.
That's doable, actually.
But at the same time, it's really unconventional, and it may just be that for a period of the game at the start, as we say, Act 1, you're just trying to...
Yeah.
You've got this stealth dynamic going on.
To be fair, at the start of Death Stranding, it's literally like the very start, you're walking down, and then all hell breaks loose, doesn't it? It's like goes from 0 to 100 in 10 minutes. So it's possible that that's absolutely the start of the game.
Throws you in the thick of it.
Starts really calm and like, everything's fine, and then just goes bang.
Boom, rug pulled.
Yeah.
And then moving on to Act 2, I mean, we think there has to be, he's talked about this nostalgic element, Kojima. Surely that has to involve Sam or Norman Reedus.
100%.
And surely that has to involve, some of the gameplay sort of dynamics that we saw in the first game.
Yeah.
So, you come on to that and give us a bit of we think it's around the ship, the seafaring dynamic.
Yeah, so I think that this hovercraft ship is able to navigate the tar stuff that we've seen to get to people's beaches, and that is how Sam is tasked with, I don't know, in some way delivering stuff to people on their beaches, or getting to people's beaches so that he can get them off their beaches. Or
we should point out as well, your little theory was that perhaps Fragile, it's an extension of her ability to teleport. That is what is almost, she's amplifying that to control this Magellan ship.
Yeah,
I should just add that in.
Yeah, because Fragile was able to move Sam through time, or through space, basically, using people's beaches. And that's how the teleporting thing worked in Death Stranding.
Because of her level of doom.
Yeah, basically. Yeah. So I wonder whether that's how, in some way, she's enabled the ship to do the same. I think that's what sort of Act 2 will be. Act 3, that's the real grey area that we don't have any clue on. But what we think is...
Well, we have the only shred of clue we have. We see that there's a little heart tattoo on baby Louise at the start, elbow. And does that link in? There's like an image of the credits at one point with Elle Fanning, and between Elle and Fanning, there's a little heart.
Yeah.
So again, this is a popular theory online, but does that suggest that an adult version of Louise, is Elle Fanning? It's going to be played by Elle Fanning. So again, that. Cool.
So what we're suggesting there is Act 3 is taking place somewhere in the future, where,
or either she's rapidly aged.
Yeah, where Lou is older. Basically, that's what we're saying, isn't it?
This is it, and then that's going to revolve around Elle Fanning. I mean, we just don't know what that could look like.
Gameplay loop. Who knows what that could be?
But I just feel like that could be such a cool cadence. There's 3 acts, 3 different playable characters,
3 different gameplay sort of with what we're suggesting, 3 completely different gameplay sort of moment to moments, which would be really cool actually. Almost like you're getting multiple games in one.
Yeah, exactly. And we know Kojima loves to challenge himself, both technically and ideologically, conceptually. So it fits with that. This is a sequel. You generally see investment increase. The projects scale up in size. So I could totally understand and see that they've just been given lots of money to make this work. So And we also know he likes to overextend himself, I would say, at times. You know, Phantom Pain.
Yeah.
He overextended to such a point that I think he fell out with Konami over it, didn't he?
Yeah, because he didn't finish it in essence, did he?
Yeah.
It's interesting though. We've seen various shots in this, because that's the other thing. We don't actually know where Death Stranding 2 is set. We've seen 2 shots in world, no, 3 shots in world, haven't we? We've seen the one where the red guys are sort of walking up to the pillars. We don't know where that is.
It almost looks desert-like or a tundra, but then is that just a beach? Because it's more abstract looking.
Yeah,
with no real monuments around, apart from this monolithic thing, like you said.
We've seen the prepper base at the start.
Yeah, that looks more like the world of the living, doesn't it?
But again, that doesn't look like an area that we visited in Death Stranding 1. It looks like Death Stranding 1 in terms of the look of the land.
Yeah, the prepper base.
That actual prepper base, I don't remember seeing. And then where we see the hovercraft come out of the tar, that landscape, again, that there was a massive tar lake, wasn't there, in Death Stranding?
Yeah.
But the surrounding of that didn't look like what we've seen in the background of these shots. So is it on a different continent?
That's the thing. Do you stick with just the physical?
Yeah.
And therefore, like you say, it would just be a boat going to another area.
Yeah.
Or do you go metaphysical? Because of course we know Death Stranding is all about the combination of the physical and the non-physical. And therefore, it becomes about this almost traversing the land of the dead, traversing the connections between the beaches. And I certainly think that gives him a lot more play in terms of just doing what the heck he wants.
Agreed.
You're not constrained so much. So that's our second topic under the 3-act theory, working theory that we've got going on, that I'm sure will be blown out the water when the next trailer hits.
Yeah, absolutely.
Anything more you want to add on that?
No, I don't think so. I think we've covered everything off on that. So let's get on to our last topic, which is what we would like to see in Death Stranding 2. So come on then, Tabz. What do you want to see in Death Stranding 2?
I mean, I've already touched upon it for the most part. Like, I'd love to see this Act 1 that's like a roguelike. It's almost like, what was that Tom Cruise film?
Yeah, is it called? Yeah, I know the one
This Time Tomorrow, or Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow, yeah, that's it.
Where he's in this time loop and you kind of, it's almost frustrating because you're constantly reliving the same, it's Groundhog Day sort of a vibe, but you're having to slowly, incrementally, find these little wins. I just think that could play. It reminded me a bit of, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, Eventide Isle. It's like a game within a game scenario.
I really like the idea of that. I think I feel like that would be such a fun game to play. And also, if that's the start of the game, I feel like that would just be a great into the game,
And it's got that nod back to, what do you call it? Covert, what did he call them? MGS games? Tactical espionage. He had a name for them, the Strand games.
Yeah.
But it's a nod back towards a Metal Gear.
Yeah.
And you've got that stealth aspect. You could get some of the combat stuff in, which we know there was a lot of criticism about. Wasn't enough of that for fans in Death Stranding, perhaps. So it'd be a great way.
And we know that for a fact because the director's cut, he added in some stealth missions, didn't he? Those ones where you had to go into was it a lab or something?
Yeah, of course.
He had they were basically stealth missions.
Lots of nods to Snake as well. With the cardboard box.
Yeah. And then those weird people that you had to stealth around. Yeah, it's very interesting.
And I should add as well, actually, mate, the other thing which we didn't touch upon, we've got, of course, the BB pod at the end, which we see at different times, both contains a BT, perhaps Lou in the form of a BT.
Yeah, maybe.
We see it be this, octopus-like
almost
creature.
But it's weird because it almost seems like it can go from a BT character to an actual physical character.
Yeah.
It seems like there's
at will.
Because it becomes this octopus-like or tentacle thing, doesn't it, within the BB pod? So, how that works, I don't know.
I'm going with that. I'm feeling that could be the kind of the start of a new gameplay conceit. So, obviously in the first game, the Odra deck, in conjunction with the BB, formed a lot of some of your capabilities, what you could do, how you could sense things. So is this kind of I don't know, we're going to see almost like a Banjo-Kazooie sort of element,
Maybe.
adds abilities to Sam's repertoire.
Yeah.
But then again, the problem with that is if it is Lou, well, it blows this whole link to Elle Fanning being linked to an older form of BB out the water because, well, she's dead. How does she age and grow up?
Yeah.
Anyway, so yeah, I'd love to see that though. We know that Kojima is famous for his emergent, sandbox gameplay environments where he creates all these sort of dynamic mechanisms and devices that you can kind of manipulate and toy with, and it creates all sorts of these wonderful, unique circumstances. That would, another introduction of something with capabilities from a new BB would just be awesome and really cool.
Agreed. What would I like to see? Well, I think some games that I've really, really enjoyed. So, Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed that game, and that was a completely different game to this. But in essence, you were exploring worlds
on an
airship, and there was like a base you could build up. I really like the
boss battles.
Yeah, I really like the idea of that. So something around that would be cool. And that's how you use this submarine. So you're going to different places, and when you get there, there's something you need to do there, whether it's...
So it's more of a mother base as well, like Phantom Pain.
Yeah, see, that's the other thing. I really like the idea of building something as well. So whether maybe you've got like a home hub that your submarine type machine goes to, and you can build that up. I really like the idea of that.
Weapons and
just
facilities inside
exactly
it.
Things that can, and especially if you are rescuing people from their beaches, or if you're then bringing them back to a base.
Yeah, that's what we said. We didn't mention that on film, but we thought there was. We've already said the Nebuchadnezzar kind of vibe of the ship. Is there a sort of a Matrix thing going on?
Yeah.
Where you're getting them out of this beach. Isolation. Almost like you're giving them the red pill or the blue pill.
Yeah, exactly. I wonder whether people are beached on their beach, and you're using this to navigate beaches and bring people back to a mother base type play area.
Because perhaps as well, this has just come to me, perhaps Higgs is somehow constraining them and trapping them on the beach.
Yeah, and we're rescuing them.
Yeah.
That's our mission.
He's somehow using them as this cult army that we see in Red.
Yeah.
And we're rescuing them Matrix-like.
Yeah.
I like it. Anyway, sorry, back to what else you'd like to see.
That's pretty much what I'd like to see, mate.
Skies of Arcadia.
Yeah. I think that would be cool.
You love Wind Waker as well, don't you?
Yeah, I would like that. I think I'm desperate for an MGS. I'd love an MGS. So if you can get a bit more stealth action in there.
Well, it looks like a Metal Gear, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does.
The actual ship.
Yeah. So I'd love to see some more stealth action in there. Over and above.
As you explore the beaches, there's that sort of...
Over and above the first game is what I mean by that. So there was little elements of stealth in there, but not enough for me. It needed to go a stage further.
I think for me and you as well, mate, I'm thinking back to Breath of the Wild shrines.
Yeah.
How cool would it be if each beach that you visit sort of represents a puzzle?
Yeah.
And obviously they can be skinned in completely different ways because it's the individual's imagination that's driving it.
And whether that's a puzzle in terms of physical, there's something weird about the beach, or it's a puzzle in terms of, I don't know, you don't have any weapons.
Yeah, stealth, combat based, or more of a head scratcher.
Yeah. That would be brilliant, wouldn't it? That'd be That'd be so good.
It gives him so much rope.
Yeah, 100%.
To just do what he wants it with. So.
And then in terms of when do we think it's going to come out, mate?
Well, I'll tell you what, live, fill some time for us, mate, because I'm sure there's been a Death Stranding leak about the release date. Let's have a look.
So while you're doing that, Tabz, hope you've all enjoyed joining us for this video. If there's more Death Stranding stuff coming down, we'll definitely try and jump on and do some more stuff. We love talking all things Death Stranding, as you know from previous videos we've done on the channel. And yeah, we just love talking about this world that Hideo Kojima tries to show us, teach us. I don't know.
In his own tricksy, provocative way.
But he loves it. He's openly said he wants us to go out there, look for the little clues in all the trailers. He said there's clues in the music he came out too, although we've been unable to identify what that piece of music was at the game show. But yeah, it's really cool. Go on then, what you found it?
Yeah, so interestingly, apparently there was an employee working on the PS5 game and a recent leak which suggested it would actually be sometime in 2024.
Interesting.
So that puts to bed our theories that it looks so far along, like it could be later this year.
Yeah, I mean, there's so much of this because I mean, as we know, people have played the original Death Stranding, and the trailers that we saw from that, clips of that were from throughout the game. Whether they were then used out of context, out of timeline, classic Kojima, but that suggests that this game, if he's done the same on this, the game's sort of there or thereabouts already.
But I would definitely say there was a vibe with the S1. I don't know if you'd agree with this, but like he didn't perhaps quite achieve what he wanted to fully.
Yeah.
It was almost like he built it as far as he could, almost as a bit of a test and a pilot.
Yeah.
But now I think he'll probably have that license to go nuts with it.
Yeah.
And therefore, it could be that, you know, they'll say, take an extra year on the project, really make this everything you want to make in a sequel.
I mean, you have to say there's not a lot for Sony to lose on this one, is there? They could just say double down on it. We're not really too bothered. People love Hideo Kojima. If he makes a good game, people...
I think it sold well enough, didn't it?
Yeah.
It did do a lot of copies PS5, then it got moved to PC.
Yeah, and that's the thing. It didn't get widely... It got criticised, both negative and positively. You know, it seemed to be a real broad sense of, oh, it was really good, oh, it was really rubbish. Obviously, we sat on the side of it being really good, but people were giving it 5s and 6s, which is completely BS. But
And it's almost like, to make a comparison with the football team, it's like with Kojima, you're not just getting him on board for the game.
yeah,
He's like a Ronaldo.
yeah,
You're getting him on board for the shirt sales.
yeah,
Like
100%.
the level of hype, popularity, and
Yeah.
publicity he brings.
I mean, people did not. I didn't think people went mad for the first Death Stranding, and yet when he comes out at Tokyo Game Show, it erupted. People went bananas for this Death Stranding 2 trailer, and you think that sort of seems skewed to the way people were with the first one after it came out. But that's Kojima, though, isn't it? You know, he's that sort of character within the games industry that just
Oddball genius.
but just people go crazy for it, even if he's making a bit of a, maybe some people would say not such a good game. People are still going mad trying to figure out what's going on.
You've got to admire that sense of just madness, which can create amazing experiences. And we hope this is another one. So, matey, do you want to sign us out?
Absolutely. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you have, give it a like so other people can see this video. Hopefully, at some point, we'll do some more Death Stranding 2 stuff once we get some more stuff, or you know, if we have some other wild theories that come to light, maybe we'll make another video.
Smash the like button, share this away. If you can grow this channel by about 100,000 followers, we'll definitely do a follow-up video.
Yeah, so we'll see you soon.
Stamped and completed.
Bye.
You ready? I was born ready, mate.
Greetings, BArcadians, and welcome to...
Hang on, because if Saber starts fucking squeaking,
Squeaking.
this will be in fucking right next.